Hey guys, it's Ryan from OB Training and Sports Performance. Today I'm going to talk to you about overhead pressing. So one of the biggest problems that we see with our clients is they get shoulder pain. Just general population, anyone that comes in, they tend to have some sort of shoulder dysfunction. So overhead pressing is a really difficult thing to, one, teach, but also to do safely so you don't have any pain going down the road. So I'm going to review the exact progressions that we use with our clients that you can use at home and hopefully regain the shoulder strength as well as get rid of that pain that's been bothering you for a long time. So first thing is we start everyone on one knee. The reason being is that we want to focus on the shoulder, and if we have to worry about our ankles, our hips, our core, everything, our knees, that's too many joints. So we're going to cut as many out as we can, and we're going to start on one knee. That way we can focus on the shoulder. So arm is going to come up, making sure the shoulder's pulled back in place. We're nice and tall, pressing straight up overhead. Notice that as I go up, bicep covers the ear. We're not out in front, and I'm also not raising up excessively high. So we don't have that extra reach at the top. We're allowed to sink our shoulder down so we can lock it out nice and tall. So next progression from there is we're going to go to a tall kneeling stance. So now we're forcing them to use a little bit more of the core. We're taking away that front foot that they can use for balance, so they have to learn to stay tall using the core and the hips. It's going to be the same idea with the shoulder, pressing straight up and down, making sure that bicep covers the ear the whole time. And once again, the core's got to stay tight, otherwise they're going to be limp like this, and they're going to wobble about when they press. We don't want any movement. We want to be nice and tall. Once we're able to do that, we're going to drop it back down to one knee again. This time, we got 2 dumbbells. So again, we have our front foot for balance, but we're looking to stay tall, keep the core tight. As we press up, notice both arms, we have bicep covering the ear. One's now in front of the other. And also, elbows are able to lock out. So one thing that you'll find is an individual who has really, really tight shoulders, tight upper back, it looks like they can't lock out their arm, so they'll keep a bent elbow. We want to make sure they can get their arm nice and straight overhead, completely locked out the whole time. So again, after the one knee, we're going to drop it back down into 2. Same idea, nice and tall, our shoulders are back, squeezing the core, squeezing our glutes so we can stay upright. Pressing straight up and down. Once it can do that, now we're going to bring them to a standing position. So we've learned everything about the shoulder, and we've cut out the legs the whole time. Again, like I said, we don't want to have to worry about too many joints. We want to focus just on their shoulders as they're pressing. Now we're going to bring them to a standing position once they've learned how to use their core and use their hips to keep themselves aligned. So we're going to drop it back to one arm again, just till they get used to it, so they can press straight up and down. All the same principles apply. Now we have our feet to drive from. So you might notice each step that we go, the weight or the load increases slightly. So as you stand up, you should be able to press stronger than if you're on your knees. Same thing if you go from 2 knees to one knee to 2 knee, you'll probably be a little bit stronger in each position. Now we're going to go to 2 dumbbells. So same idea. Nice and tall, press straight up in the air, keeping everything in line. Now, if at any point throughout these movements you find that you can't perform, let's say, the 2-arm overhead press from a standing position the same way you do the 1 arm, you notice that your core is a little weak, you might be twisting a little bit, it hurts your back, that means you got to downgrade. So that's why we have this progression system. If someone can't do this exercise, we take them back a step. If they can't do that one, take them back a step again. That way you can take an overhead press exercise and make it for literally anyone. You're going to either progress them or regress them. So once we do the press, now we're going to start to add some speed to the movement. So when you have speed to the movement, we're going to use the hips to create explosive power. So weights on the shoulder again. We're going to dip, and press. Control them back down, dip, press, control back down. So this is a push press exercise. The difference here, we're starting from the legs. So when we do that dip, we're not shooting the knees straight out in front of you. We're actually pushing our knees out a little bit to generate tension, allowing them to explode back through with the hips, creating torque, pushing the bar, or in this case, the dumbbells overhead. Our last progression is going to be what's called a push jerk. So again, we're using heavier weights, which means we need to change the way that we press the bar or the dumbbells, the way that we create explosiveness, and in this case, the way that we catch it or the way that we finish. So when it's heavier, we're not gonna be able to press it straight up like normal and just be able to stand here. So in this case with the jerk, we're gonna drop underneath the weights, allowing ourselves to be able to press a heavier load. So bring them up. Similar to the push press, we're gonna get that dip in our legs before we press, and we're gonna finish just a little bit different. So we dip, bring them down, same thing again. Dip, down, and finish. So you notice on the push jerk, we're finishing in a split stance. That way we are lowering ourselves underneath the weights. We're not just pressing them up in the air. It allows you to use a heavier load and really forces you to work on explosive power throughout. So if you're struggling at all putting something over your head, if you're using dumbbells, which I would recommend starting with, even if it's a barbell, go through this progression. It's a great way to relearn the pressing movement, as well as to make sure that you're not getting any sort of pain as you go forward. And of course, if you have any questions, drop a comment below or check us out on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, obtraining.com, and email us at info@obtraining.com. Check you later.